How's it going? So we've been going through a lot, processing a lot, clearing a lot of timelines, and I've been guided to do a collective reading as we're just creating some peace in our lives and some momentum for the future realities that are being created here and now. It's really gifting us an opportunity right now to really transcend the old limitations of ourself and gifting ourselves the opportunity to rediscover our magic, our purpose, our life path, and what makes us happy. Um, it's interesting because even the narratives are shifting, right? So even if the reality doesn't necessarily quote unquote shift, like you're kind of in your same routine, the narratives are shifting, and as a result of the narrative shifting, there's a lighter mood in the atmosphere. But we're also, going through a lot of clearing right now, a lot of emotional clearing, a lot of focusing on our emotional well-being, a lot of really what it is to fall in love with ourselves again, as we remember how to fall in love with one another as well. Um, Especially when in regards to like friendship, community, families, partnerships, all of those things. So right now is very much so a just a time of sacred reflection, sacred witnessing, and really standing in our power and our value system to truly know what it is to be a miracle here on Gaia, what it is to witness our own magic, but also to witness our own creations, which has been a big part of it, is really coming into full alignment with who we are at a soul, over soul, interdimensional, higher self, whatever you want to call it, version of ourselves, and really taking the time and opportunity to just really like love and care who we are in all dimensions, all spaces, all bandwidths, and all of the creations we've been a part of over years, including Galactic Akash, going into our ancient timelines, our ancestry, a lot of peace going on. So welcome in. Oh, the kitty. The kitty. Yes, we have a kitty in here. I don't own a kitty, but I have a kitty that stops by randomly. So we have a kitty here. So welcome, guys. Welcome. I just want to take a moment to say thank you, to say I love you, to say that we're going to just have this is going to be more of a peaceful reading because of stuff that's going on. I've been revisiting a lot of old lifetimes today, and it's been quite a journey with those lifetimes, playing out those realities, and then coming forward and being asked to do a message for the collective. So thank you guys for being a part of this sacred and sovereign space. I want to remind you that you are sovereign and free in this space, and that this is a space of peace. This is a space of healing, space of love, and a journey of hope, and a journey for freedom for all of us. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for your likes, shares, subscribes. Play patty cake with the like button if you'd like. Either way, we're gonna get into this message. I can't really see the chat, which might be a good thing. I can't see the chat because I'm on my phone. We're doing some technology repairs right now. So anyways, thank you guys for being here. So let's just go ahead and see what wants to come forward for the collective. This might be a story. We're going to work with the collective group, whoever decides to pop in. We might also do some other messages. Might do some other messages as well, because there's been a few things that are coming up to read for and to read about that are a little different, a little new. But anyway, so we're just going to do a collective heart reading. How about that? I like that. Collective heart reading. Collective heart reading. What does our heart need to hear right now? What sort of messages want to come forward for us? Where's my angel deck? Ooh. You know what? We're going to start out with oracle cards. I'm not going to read formally from the book, but my angel deck has been bringing through some really beautiful messages lately. So we're going to start out with the angel deck. We're going with the Angel Guide Oracle by Kyle Gray, and then we'll go into the Smith-Waite Centennial deck. Every one of these decks is actually tuned to a certain vibrational bandwidth, and so I weave in and out of different decks because of what they produce, what they create in my own life, but also the certain frequency that we hold in each deck. It's really good to get a really well-rounded perspective when it comes to readings, and so I use, I really like the original Rider-Waite deck, and I like the printing that Pamela Smith did. So as a result, I have many of the same same style of decks, but different editions that are by different printers, I believe. Just because each one holds a certain vibration or a certain like tonality for me, and then I tune each one to a different vibration. So it's even though they're the same cards, when it comes to collective readings, sometimes we have to travel between different worlds and different realms to bring forward what we need to bring forward. So, anyways, we're going to start with the angel guide. What message wants to come forward for us from our angelics? From the true original creator of our soul, what messages want to come forward right now from our angelics? Do the work. Do the work. Do the work in holy love. This is beautiful. It's perfect because this is really in alignment. The deck that I'm using today, I have tuned to it's my Sophia creator deck. So we're working with a lot of Christos Sophia tones. Do the work. With do the work, it's really an opportunity right now to make sure that that we are going within, that we are resolving and dissolving all those old wounds, all the old judgments, all the old persecution, all the old war, and all the old value systems in our own life, because we're beginning to awaken to a new way of life for all of us. There's a lot of new pathways that are opening up and a lot of old pathways that are closing out. So as a result, right now, it's very much so an opportunity for us to begin to really do the inner work, but it's also about the external work too, right? So as we're shifting things out of our reality, it's about creating that space for the new. We have to create that wide open space for us to be able to breathe in whatever this new is for ourselves. So as a result, it could be, cleaning up, throwing out your wardrobe. If there's a new version of you that's coming online, is it go get a haircut, right? It's like these little things help us, right? They help us because every time, especially for myself, when there's new versions of Corey showing up, there's always some sort of shift or change that occurs. And as a result, it's about doing the internal work, right? Clearing what we need to internally, but then showing up in the external and making sure we're doing the work too. So what is your work today? Right? What is your work? Make sure you're not holding too many responsibilities though, right? I understand at some levels we have to, especially in regards to let's say that we are, we have a family or we have jobs or certain things that we are, called to do, right? We just want to make sure we're not taking on too much burden or worries of others or even collective as well. That's been a thing for myself. But either way right now, what are you being called to do and where are you called to share, and how are you called to show up? Is it to go within? Is it to get out that journal and to start making those lists of different things that you want to do with your life, right? Are there certain belief systems that you've created in your reality that you need to let go of? What is it for you? When it comes down to holy love, right? Holy love, wholeness in love, right? It really is about an overall general well-being. And especially with do the work and holy love kind of merge together, it's making sure that you're coming from a place of love and deep sacred respect for yourself, right? It really is about when it comes to the wholeness of love, right? I've noticed that love itself deepens and deepens and deepens the more layers that you shed of the old, right? So when we begin transcending, we go layer by layer, right? Layer of the old love, old belief system, old thought forms, old structures, all of it. Is that the biggest part about this is that we have to start opening up to not only deeper love, but higher love, right? So coming from that high heart space too. But I notice that as I deepen the presence within myself and I'm learning deeper and deeper more about what it is to be at that reunion with the soul again, reunion with the light within me, the holy love shifts and changes, right? So a part of this with the do the work is that how do we, for you, how do you show up for yourself today? How do you show up for others from a place of holy love, but also recognize that love itself transforms and shifts? So yes, we're speaking of just a certain frequency, but it can oscillate through our life. It can oscillate through our form, especially as it's touching different belief systems and different internal structures within us, right? So if you think of love as a vibration, right, and it stands with unity, it stands in purity, it stands at that deep sacred essence of self. What happens is that frequency begins to align within our reality, and then it begins to touch us on those places that are unloving within ourselves, right? And so it redefines our being, it redefines our body, it redefines the entirety of us, the wholeness of us, right? And so a lot of that too is, even though we're speaking of one frequency of love, however that chooses to emit in our lives, we could give it an example like 432 hertz, right? Is that frequency itself is going to stay in that resonance, but what it touches on within us shifts and changes, and as a result our belief structures will shift and change. So what we're doing is we're gifting ourselves an opportunity to have a little bit of an evolution, of love in our own lives. And I find this with my encounters with others, right? Like I find that like, you know, as I evolve and I start encountering more evolved people in my life, right? And then there's an evolution of the relationship based upon the level of consciousness that we hold, and based upon, you know, our DNA, our internal memory, right? Our light body activating, how fast our field is spinning, how expanded we are, how contracted we are we playing in unity, are we playing in separation? Love itself transforms and changes. And so a part of gifting ourselves that love again and doing the work to come back to that place of holy love is gifting ourselves an opportunity to also allow the old motives, right? The old beliefs, especially regarding love, to transcend and to fall away. And it can be a painful process. Like even for myself, I've found that as I'm transcending the old limitations of love, right, that are based on either dogmatic or family programming, or, you know, what I saw as on the Disney Channel growing up, right? That itself, like I have to gift myself the opportunity to allow love to show up however love wants to show up for me, right? And sometimes the most loving thing we can do is just be with our I am presence. Sometimes the most loving thing we can do is allow others to be in their I am presence. Whether that means that you're there or you're not there, whether you're together or apart, whether this is friend groups, it's a challenge that you're facing, whatever it might be in your own life, right? Is that this holy love, this deep sacred respect and honor we have for ourselves and for who we are, it sets the tone for the future of humanity as well. So there is a lot of discussion here about that humanitarian vision and that collective goal, right? And that's where some of us are. We speak about those things. We speak about those things because we care about what's going on with our future generations. But we recognize that the biggest impact we make today, right? The biggest impact we can make today is by really finding what that deep, profound love is within ourselves from a place of stillness. And that love is deep sacred respect. It's deep sacred honor for who you are. And as a result, you know, I throw out these catchphrases, right? I throw out these keys to you. You know, why am I throwing out these keys? Because they touch a place within ourselves. And now as a result, it's up to us to allow our soul essence to define what that is for us, right? Because it shifts and changes in every now moment, especially when you are navigating quantum realities, you're navigating multidimensionality. Is like what love is today might be not be what love is tomorrow, right? You might encounter a timeline and love is going to shift and transform, right? So it's like it's really one of those things where we also have to allow the evolution to work, but we also have to do the work. We have to do the work. When it comes to doing the work, it means about going within, taking time in silent meditation, reflecting, listen to the essence of the soul, get out a pen and paper, do some journaling, right? That's one of my favorite things to do, especially as times are getting really tough. If like times are getting quote unquote tough, or I'm going through a big clearing process, right? I'm like transcending a lot of belief systems, right? I'm shedding a lot of old. I'm working through a bunch of timelines, especially when we're going into the galactic Akashic records, which can be beyond intense, right? To recover those memories. There's been a lot up with like Lyra lately. Is sometimes we have to deepen our love, right? We have to deepen our stillness and deepen our love. And so it's interesting because even tonight, the guidance was to just sit and be, right? And then all of a sudden my universe is like, we really need you to do a reading. And it's like, why? And it's because it's like this is a part of doing the work, right? It's a part of doing the work is showing up, right? And like being able to encounter adversity, being able to establish new relationships with yourself, new connections with other beings, right? New connections with your soul family, with your community, whatever it might be. And as a result, we recognize that the reflection begins to catch up with that. But we also have to allow the reflection to catch up with that. We have to allow the reality to see us fully so we can see ourselves fully. You see what I mean? And it's that might be a little bit bass backwards, because we really truly actually should be seeing ourselves fully and then allowing the reality to show up in that reflection. But sometimes it can be a little bit different depending upon what process you're working through and depending upon what your divine alignment and your divine guidance is. So a lot to say of this, but there is this really big like kind of doing the work in regards to holy love that's showing up for us right now. So let's go ahead and we're gonna pull some original cards. Yeah. So we're working with Smith-Waite Centennial deck, which is one of my favorite decks. There's something about the drawings on the back of this deck that just take me to a place of memory within. I don't know what it is. They're like the colors are different from the original Rider-Waite, but there's something about the back of the deck for me that just like I see it and it's like I have a memory of it, right? And a part of my self-love is to share my gifts with the world and to play with cards, right? To play with cards. Some days it's silly rainbow laughter. Some days it's just kind of being peaceful. Some days I'm in my Christos tones. Some days I'm just kind of, just doing whatever I'm doing. So thank you guys for showing up. Let's see what message is coming forward from the collective. What messages want to come forward for the collective? We've been cleaning up a lot. There's a Lovers card showing up at the bottom of the deck, so we do have a lot of love showing up. Love of family, love of friends, love of self. For some of you, it might be a divine union. Holy love. What wants to come through for the collective messages? Ew. No, we're not doing that. Not doing that. We're not playing jumpers right now. Ooh. So there's something in the past that's coming up for us. Let's see what this is. Interesting. Man, why does this keep coming up? This is coming up for a reason. I want to state this. This is something we've been transcending and working with today. At the heart of the reading is the Devil card. Crossing the reading is the Two of Pentacles. So I feel like this is being chained to an old version of love, and as a result there's an indecision right now that's occurring where it's, what do I do? For some of you, this might be about relationships in general, relationships with other people. This can also be ideologies, belief systems, right? Either way, it's about feeling like we're tethered to something, right? And right now there is a call to shift. There's a call in another direction. There's a call to do differently, be differently. That's why do the work is coming up right now. This energy came up last night in the Scorpio reading, and it came up today again, and it's coming up on purpose. It's gifting us an opportunity to look at our own addictions, right? Our own obsessions, our own belief systems, our own structures, everywhere we still perceive that we are stuck or limited or tied to or attached to something. It makes sense because collectively this has been an energy, and a lot of it showed up today. A few times in readings. It showed up last night, and I've been seeing it. And when this is appearing, this is because it's showing us something, right? So we have to start looking at our own systems, right? We have to start looking at our own controls, our own obsessions, our own addictions, and as a result, make a choice, make a decision. For myself, I'll state this. This one has to do with belief systems, right? It has to do with a lot of belief systems that keep me limited, right? And as a result, it's that perception, right? The perception, because see, chains wrapped around the necks, but they're loose enough that we can take them right off. So the perception of this is that, of this aspect of ourselves, or of this version, is that that we are chained when in fact we aren't, right? But there is an indecision, there is a choice that is getting in the way for us, and that choice is to shift or to move somewhere, or to do something differently, right? Either way, there's a balance of polarities that's occurring in our own lives. This is also speaking about taking things and bringing them into balance. If you see, we've got the 8 here, we've got the infinite, right? We have something that's coming into balance. And so for a lot of what's been coming up for me is witnessing a lot of versions of myself that used to scare me, or I used to be afraid of, or I didn't want to show others, right? Because I was afraid of being judged, ridiculed, exiled, right? Tortured, blamed, abused, guilt, shamed. There's a lot that comes up with this card. And, and I feel like what's beautiful about this card right now is that if this revolts you in any way, then it's a perfect sacred medicine to jump into. Not because you're supposed to go play with this energy at all. I'm by no means stating that. Please do not do that, right? Like, do not. But what it is I found, like, for instance, when we are working, when I was doing plant medicine ceremonies with essential oils, no, not like ayahuasca or anything like that, but when I was working with essential oils and learning about plant-based medicine through essential oils, the one thing that we were taught is that with oils, right, if there is a certain frequency or a vibration that oil emits through senses, and we don't like that smell, that's probably the medicine that we need. It's kind of like if you were to think about, like, Diamond Tap and stuff like that. By means, I'm not saying anyone go take cough medicine, right? But like those things that revolt us tend to be the medicine that we need. And sometimes the most powerful versions of ourselves are the ones that we resist the most. And I'm learning that about myself too. So please, just be happy. Be happy. Be in your joy. Be in your love. But this energy is coming up for a reason, and it's something that we need to all look at, especially as we're transcending the limitations of the old models of business, the old models of systems, the old third dimensional stuff, whatever it might be, right? The matrix, whatever you want to call it, right? Is that this is something that was created by us as a collective, right? Collective of humanity created this, and there's been a lot of perceptions, right, about it that that are coming up to the surface right now for all of us to clear, and especially with this is where we really deeply step into the sacred essence of what our self-love is and coming back into that holy love. The question point for us right now in this group is, can you love this version of yourself? Can you love this version of yourself? Or can you love this person? Can you love yourself enough to take off your own chains? Can you take off your own chains by making a decision? Because we're looking at a card of indecision, but this decision itself is going to bring a balance to some sort of polarity in our own lives, right? It's going to bring up something for us. So, and this is about doing the work. It's about making sure that we're not playing with these systems, that we're not playing with these controls, that we're not playing with these old world matrices, right? And to make sure that we're also not projecting this onto other people as well. Oh, there we go. So there's the journey. At the foundation, we are in movement here. I'm going to take this as energetic movement. We are walking away. So right now, the foundation of this reading is very much so a shift, a transition, taking our truth and walking away. Taking our truth and walking away. So this is very much so carry on, my wayward son, right? Like we're on our way, we're on an energetic shift, and the shift feels right because it's bringing a balance to something, and there has to be a decision that's being made. So this place of indecision that's occurring within us, that is going to create a balance of some sort. It is the one thing right now that some of us might be feeling. So if you've been tuning into a feeling that you need to make a decision, I sense that now is the time to leap in whatever direction that might be in alignment for you. Okay, in alignment for you. Oh yeah. This is about just taking it nice and slow. This is coming through with an energy. Knight of Pentacles here, crowning the reading. Basically, other dimensional versions sending us a gift right now or an announcement. It's saying, just take it easy. Take it nice and slow. Especially when it comes to what you're offering the world, what your choice is here. Because here's the thing, right? We have 2 Pentacles here. I know it's kind of hard to see here, but we've got 2 Pentacles here. The Knight of Pentacles is holding one of these Pentacles. And so there is a part of this shift right now and this transcending that's occurring that's offering us an opportunity to find more stability in our own lives. The one thing about the Knight of Pentacles is it's very grounded, it's very stable. But it can be one of the slowest moving knights. So it is about that really like gentle, soft, slow and steady wins the race. The reminder too is in momentum and motion. And I like it because see with here, we're seeing 2 beings that are chained. They're chained. But we have 2 cards of motion. So it doesn't matter whether it's quick or whether it's slow. We are moving. But the thing is this, guys. Crowning the reading. 7 of Swords. Right. So we're moving forward while looking back. We want to make sure that as we're transitioning, as we're jumping timelines, as we're jumping into the new that's being expressed to us, for us, by us at the soul level, we want to make sure that we're not allowing old belief systems to crowd into the new reality, right? So this can be interdimensional slip, bleed through. This is something I've been dealing with too, where dimensions start slipping in. You're like, well, where's this coming in? Or old belief structures, old thought patterns. So we want to make sure that as we're transcending the old, we're removing the limitations and we're eliminating a lot of old out of our lives, right? A lot of old. We want to make sure that we're not allowing these past versions or even past mistakes or past timelines to enter into the now, especially when it comes to do the work in holy love. We're very much so right now in an opportunity space to really go within to find out what these old truths are that exist somehow that are coming forward, and it's about transcending them and doing the work. It's really about getting down to business and doing the shadow work, right? So is it about, for ourselves, getting out a pen and paper and start making those lists of what's going on, right? We want to direct our momentum and our eyes forward into the new. So a lot of this has been for myself, spell casting. It's been about spell casting, meaning like like actually writing out a new storyline for myself, right? So here's a great thing, a great tool, a great resource that you can do, and I did this and it worked for a while. Um, was that I wrote out, okay, so on just a little slip of paper, I wrote out my new story. I've talked about this so many times, and it was like, okay, so if I can write down, if I can create any story that I want to about myself, what sort of frequencies do I want involved within that? Peace, guys, peace, peace. Um, when it comes to the new story, what sort of frequencies do I want to embody within that story? So is it that I want more love, right? Is it that I want more friendships? Do I want to align to truth and clarity? Do I want to be the divine witness of my own miracle, right? Like, what are those things that you want for yourself? And start embedding that in your new story, right? So I wrote out basically a little paragraph. And I read it to myself 3 times a day. First thing I woke up in the morning, I read myself my new story. About noon, right about lunchtime, right when you're about to sit down, have your meal, or take a 10-minute break at work, read your story out loud. Read it out loud. Read it with God. Read it with Source. Read it with higher self. Read it with whatever you choose to believe in, right? Whether it's Christ consciousness, it's the soul, the oversoul, the interdimensional, whatever it is, right? The galactics. It's just sit down and read it with the most beautiful, loving, and powerful version of you, the one that you call is your sacred soul essence, whatever you choose that to be, right? Because we all see sacred a little bit differently, even though we're speaking of a vibration here, right? So then do that again at night and just keep repeating that, and I guarantee you your reality will catch up to it. I did it, and it was within, I think, like a week or two that I saw my reality shift, right? And as a result, even for myself, this is something that I should do now. It's like, okay, there's a lot of things that I'm calling forward for 2022. We're in the momentum of the builder. We're in the builder codes, right? Even today, 1-2-2022, right? We're in this frequency of the new beginning, the oneness, and all the twos. So we're in that builder codex, right? We're in alignment with that ancient builder and that ancient DNA. So as a result, if that were unlocked for you, right? Because you had that within you, which you do have that within you, right? We're just playing with energy here, playing with this frequency. Is that if you were gifted the opportunity to create your reality however you wanted, how would you create it and choose it to be so mote it be? Write that down, right? And write it down and sit with it, right? Process it. Does it feel right for me? And you know, the thing is before you start repeating it to yourself, you can also command your dream state to shift out, to build in your dream state as a result of it, right? But it's really about taking the time to really refine what your story is, right? And then allow the reality to catch up to that, and to know that the reality will, right? The reality will. Bashionoku. So Knight of Swords, yeah, whatever came through really hot and quick for us, right? So in the past, we're looking at some really big shift that occurred, and it happened fast. Knight of Swords has been coming up a lot, and it's that, you know, it's that very, 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 very fast, kind of a quick strike movement. Something came through, some sort of truth, some sort of clarity came through for us, and it came through for me, and it came through really quick. And as a result, I'm now choosing to abide by the soul, right? I'm choosing to share from a different version of myself, multiple versions of myself, because I have multi-dimensionality and multiple versions that want to be expressed and refined. So there is something quick that came in, some sort of quick movement. And I love that right now we have a highlight here of the divine child, the spiritual child. So the spiritual child coming through, very much so saying, not, I want to say that the spiritual child itself, oh my gosh, is this really where we're going right now? That just made a lot of sense. What if your inner child was the one that put you into this position so you can begin to play with it again? Just a question. It just flashed on me, which is like, whoa, that's nuts. Is to think that what if our divine child is trying to get our attention and put us into a position to connect with this energy, right? So we can begin to play with it, and we can begin to free our own inner child, because the inner child is a part of this holy love. And especially being in like a masculine body, right? And being like a you know, a wounded galactic, right? Like going through all the space stuff, all the different interdimensional stuff, all the oversoul stuff, the different monadic stuff, all the different timelines that have shifted. It's like, yo, the child's like kind of coming up and going, it's really time for you to be silly with me again. And I know even for myself, right, included, is being silly sometimes it just feels strange because there has been a really far disconnect for many people, especially if you've gone through trauma, especially if you grew up with very interesting belief systems. But it really is up to us now as the empowered creator to begin connecting with this version of ourselves. It is up to us as the empowered creator. No one can do this for us. Other people can amplify it and highlight it in my reality. I have friends that I call that are super silly, right? Super silly. Some are in this chat right now. And when I talk to them, my child just, sparks with joy, right? But the child right here is kind of hanging in the background going, hey, are you missing me yet? Right? And you're like, oh man, yeah, I'm missing my child. So it really is about finding that essence of play. Now, I understand that there's different things that occur in the reality, right? That might not allow this opportunity to come up for us. So you can start with 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day. It doesn't have to be an entire big day thing. It doesn't have to be that trip to Disneyland unless it is, right? It could be very simple. It could be like, for myself, sometimes it's like going to the store and getting a candy bar, right? Like, and I recognize, let's be health conscious, right? Things like that. But like sometimes it's as simple as like go to a candy store, turn on a Disney movie, right? Go chill out, go relax. What is that thing that you did as a child, right? Okay, let's go here. What is that thing that you did as a child? That thing that you did as a growing up that you love to do? I know it's there. I know that memory is there. It's time to go into that memory and to gift that child whatever that is for yourself, right? And so please always use your discernment, right? But this is being drawn for a reason, and it's being called forward and highlighted, right? Because all this energy right now is kind of like, oh my gosh, right? And it's affecting us. But the eyes of the divine child right now are gifting us an opportunity to play. Our child is gifting us momentum. And this was actually coming up today with other readers as well, which is like, this is actually a guide. Can we allow our inner child to be a guide? Can we allow our divine child to be a guide? And we have to witness this expression, right? So it's like no longer characterizing it as the wounded child, unless you got that wounding that you need to work through, so on and so forth. But it's about really listening to what your child wants, that place, that version of you that existed pre-programming, right? Pre-trauma, pre-3D, right? Yeah, we woke up in a 3D system, but there is a version of you, right, that is really divinely innocent and divinely pure. And it's calling us forward right now. And I just want to take that moment to gift our child the opportunity to bring this message forward, because even my own child is like, come on, dude, we need to play a little bit more, right? And so maybe us as a collective, right, can take that effort for the rest of this year to just play with our child a little bit more, however it might be, our own inner child. Silly, goofy play is always fun, right? And sometimes as adults, it feels weird being quirky, or it might feel strange or unfamiliar. And it's about repairing that connection back to that place of divine innocence, because there's been so much separation through third dimensional conditioning, programming, societal belief structures. And then especially the past couple of years, are you kidding me? Right? It's like right now we really have to double down on our relaxation, moving slow, and allowing the eyes and the perception of the child to come through again. So we're rewriting our story, right? We're rewriting our story. And I'm hearing the song the rest is still unwritten, right? That we're in the process right now of writing in our new story. So please, for myself, I know that if I created a reality as 33-year-old Corey from the eyes of the child in connection with the divine child, oh my gosh. Not only would my reality be awesome by myself, but everyone is going to have a really cool reality as well. Like everyone that comes into the reality is going to have so much fun. There's going to be candy canes, there's going to be blimps, there's going to be balloons. Like we're going to be playing Candyland, right? Like it's going to be silly. And that's the thing is like, think about like, not only the gift of you having the essence of your child back, but the reality you would create with your inner child, how that weaves into the collective, and that how that would be shared with others. Like, oh my gosh, that would actually be really fun. That would be really fun. So that just got me excited. Imagine building like a big adult playground where we can all hang out on, right? Where we can all hang out, just play with our magic. There's fairy gardens, there's elves, there's galactics. All of our friends and family are there. We have picnics, we have lunch, we're growing gardens. Like how cool would that be to have like an adult jungle gym basically? That'd be so much fun. All right, message for the future. Oh, look at this hermit card. So there we go. Showing up in our magic, showing the way, lighting the way for other people. What I like right now too is that right now, even though this is in the traditional spread of the Celtic cross, right, or the crystalline cross, whatever we want to call it, we're looking at the future perception, right, where we're at in the future. But I love this right now. I love this. Look what the hermit is doing right now. It's shining a light. See, I'm getting goosebumps. Merlin's shining a light right now. Right. So this is very much so a time for us to light the way in our own realities and to turn our light on. Um, Makes me think of the song by Tom Walker, "Leave a Light On," which is that's one of those songs that one that one means everything to me. And then another one is "One More Light" by Linkin Park. And right now, that's very much so what we're being called to do is to illuminate within our own lives where we're still feeling like we're X, Y, or Z because of stuff that's going on in the world. But also it's really playing with that energy of being bind or trapped or controlled, right? Or abandoned or neglected, or let's look at even addiction, right? Addiction's been a big one that's been coming up. And right now we're very much so, as a collective, trying to get our people out of those places. And there's many different ways that we've been doing that, been like dropping little hints to try to get people um out of those universes and out of those realms, because we want the family to have their magic back. We want the family to have their power back. We don't want the family to be a part of these things, right? But as a result, though, a part of lighting the way is standing in our essence of truth and really reflecting on our own belief systems, right? Our own even misbeliefs and misperceptions about certain things, making sure that we're turning our light on, leaving our light on, and that we're sharing that beacon of hope with others. So we are speaking of the frequency of the lighthouse, but the lighthouse of our magic. When we are looking at a 9 frequency, we're looking at the mystics. We're looking at the mystics. We're looking at the divine. We're looking at being in our mystical, magical presence, however that chooses to show up. And either way, right now, the hermit is shining a light for us. And this is also the version of us that we're stepping into. So a part of this, right, is that for a period of time, even for myself, it feels like sometimes you're isolated or alone, right? I want you to recognize this is why the self-love is really important. Deepening that connection with yourself. It makes me think of, for myself, there was when I started this journey of self-acceptance. Okay. There's a really beautiful quote that I used to always listen to, like, and share with others, which was, "You'll never be lonely if you love the person you're alone with," right? And so I understand that sometimes we don't have connections to our soul family or our soul tribe, or we don't have connections to other people, right? So it really is about really defining this new self-love for ourselves and allowing that to be the shining light in our own life, because that is a beacon of truth and a beacon of hope for other people. And as a result, there's a lot of affliction that's occurring throughout humanity right now. There's a lot of wake-up calls. There's a lot of people spiraling out. There's a lot of transcending the old limitations. There are things that are going on. We're all having a different experience right now. But it's really about showing up in our light, in our honor, in our gratitude, and taking that moment for ourselves to shift out the perceptions and belief systems of the old and igniting what that truth of light is within ourselves and within our own being. Okay? Look at this. Now we have the world showing up. So we have this cycle. We have a completion. We have a renewal. We have an opening. We have a shift that's occurring, and it is creating migration in our own lives. And so we want to honor that migration and take that moment to just stand tall in our love, as our love, with our love, but to make sure that we're also taking those moments to do what we need to do to make sure that we're bringing ourselves back to that place, right? Does it require a clarion call for peace? Is there some sort of forgiveness? Is there a letter you need to write? Is there someone you need to call and talk to, right? We don't see any Eight of Wands energy, but this could be about communicating someone. It could be about reaching out. Sometimes we just got to reach in, right? Instead of reaching out, we reach within. And it's a really good place for us to do that. And this is that moment of when we really discover what our magic is within, because magic is found within. Magic is found within. And as a result, it shines out through us, right? And so we really want, and I'm hearing the song "Shine on You" by Jason Mraz, which is a beautiful song, and it talks about the sun and the moon. It's a story of the sun and the moon. And it's a beautiful song. So either way, the light is being shined on us right now. It's being shined on our truth. It's being shined on whatever this is to us, and the decisions that we need to make, the polarities we need to bring into balance, right? Coming from a place of neutrality, of course. But we're also, too, with this card right now, we're being offered an opportunity to make a decision, because there is some sort of transit or shift that is occurring. So this is a collective movement, a collective transition and shift. Okay. Whew. Man. All right, so let's go ahead and we're gonna do a timeline reading right now. Because I'm hearing One More Time by Daft Punk. That's why I heard Timeline, but hmm. Okay. All right. Should we talk about this then? Okay. Is this turning into a coffee talk with Corey? I think it is. I don't have coffee though. I'm told not to drink coffee and not to smoke. So I'm not going to drink coffee. I'm not going to smoke, but we're going to have a candle talk with Corey. Candle time with Corey. There's a lot of people having behavioral health stuff right now, and I want to talk about that. Behave and health. Behave and health. Let's think of those words. Before we start casting that into existence, right? Let's think about that. But let's look at that I recognize that there's a lot going on. And as a result, when our light body comes online, okay. When our light body comes online, when we begin to become unplugged from certain systems, certain lines and lifetimes, right? And we're activating our DNA, we're clearing out our Akash, we're clearing subjugation patterns and subjugation systems, right? What starts to happen as a process of repair is that a lot of us can start to feel like something's wrong with us. I myself included, it was my trauma that created the ability for me to begin to transcend. It was a traumatic experience that created my awakening. How many people's awakening was really smooth and soft and easy? I don't see anyone messaging about that one right now. Awakening is not easy. There's a lot that goes on when we go into the judgment day. There's a lot that occurs as we're unraveling, that we're unplugging, and as a result, yeah, it does feel like we're losing our marbles sometimes. There's a lot of days where I wake up and I go, man, I feel like I'm losing my mind. Or as a result, like I have a spawn. So let's talk about delusions. Delusions. I was like, man, it's cold. Someone's bringing in the plasma snow right now because my light body is freezing internally. Um. So when it came to myself, oh no, I'm dropping things. When it came to this word, okay, delusion, I recognize as I broke down the word that is a word that basically was me trying to delete the illusion out of my own life. So when we are losing the illusion out of our life, right, and we're coming into a place of evolution in our own lives. Don't worry about my hair. As we're coming into a place of evolution in our lives and expansion, right, is that what starts to happen is we start to okay, let's go into the light body, the looping systems. First off, looping systems of the mind, right? That those systems have created realities that have created a lot of existences where we felt like we've been in that devil energy, because it plays on us, especially things like mind games and stuff like that, right? Um, when our light body comes online, okay, so when we have like a solar flare or we download a star code, right, is first off, there's sleep disturbances that occur. So either a frequency hits you and you just crash out, or you're up really late at night, right? So your biorhythms, your internal mechanisms, right, your body, your sacred temple, your sacred architecture begins to shift and change. You go through a natural realignment of your reality, right? So when your light gets activated within your DNA, so we have 12 strand and higher blueprints, so we can go up to, like, let's say a 48 strand potential, right? So we get all 48 strands fired off. Your highest angelic DNA fires off, right? So you're embodying that high angelic, you're embodying creator consciousness, things like that. As a result, we start to clear the programming from our cellular body, right? Our cells begin to act, our cells hold on to the program, right? Our DNA holds on to the program, which in turn, as a result, shows up in the physical body. And as a result, it starts to affect our neural pathways, right? So as a result of this, when we are losing density, when we are dropping density, when we are transcending these belief systems, it can feel like, for some of us, like a panic attack, central nervous system sparking, right? When our light body sparks and ignites, or we go through a big heart activation, right, what starts to happen is our central nervous system can feel like it's going bonkers, right? So this will show up for many people and appear as anxiety, right? When we start to step into the frequencies like gamma ray activations, right? If you are embodying gamma, or a gamma ray hits, all of a sudden you're just like hyper focused, or you're just like, let's just go. And the universe isn't going to promise you that gamma is going to hit at 7:30 in the morning right when you wake up, right? The universe doesn't promise those things, right? It's it's one of those things where it's gonna the ignition point occurs when it occurs. The energy hits us when it hits us. And so I've had moments where at 3 in the morning, right, like happened the other night, we had, Luna up, and when Luna was up, it was just like, "Oh, I'm just going until 5 or 6 in the morning." It occurs, right? It occurs. So I'm stating this because basically what's going on is that there's a lot of people right now, evidently in the collective as I'm hearing it, that are having some issues and concerns with their own emotional well-being. Okay. I recognize that right now, for many of us, the Western medical model, um, while it was very helpful and it has been very helpful for many, including myself, I want to state this: the Western medical model saved my life, right? Without proper psychiatry, proper access to medications and things like that, I don't think I would probably be here. But I also recognize that there are some limitations, right? And there are some truths that are coming forward for all of us right now that we're all beginning to share more and more and more about a wellness, healthy body, energy, things like this. And it ties into a story I heard today, and I don't know if it's really appropriate to share the story, but it was about it's basically there was someone with PTSD that basically was about to be given a label of being disabled for the rest of their life. And I was like, oh, like I know what that feels like to get that label, because I've had that label. I've had doctors tell me that I was going to be on, certain medications because of my addiction to opiates, because of my drug abuse, that I was going to have to be on medications for the rest of my life. Now that was different, right? That was a different scenario. But I also recognize that like that limitation, if we start to dive into the light body, right? If we start to dive into our energy body practices and how we're working with the limbic system and how we're working with energy and the quantum field and quantum biology as a response to our own internal condition, and recognizing ways to be able to work with our traumas in a healthy way, we're going to be able to we're going to be able to shift out a lot of things that Western medical society told us were not possible. Now, the thing is, though, is that there's a lot of things that get in the way with this. I'm not going to go into that, but there's a lot of things that will go with this. And, Dr. Sebi and all these people that have really provided some really beautiful information regarding this stuff. There has been a lot of regarding us being able to share and explain these truths fully. Right. I want to say that it's safe for you to be able to share this truth here and now, because those are the realities that we co-created, and that's a part of that Seven of Swords energy. Is like, why is that old thing coming in right now? And it's like, it doesn't need to be here, so let's shift it out because it doesn't belong here, right? But when it comes to the new foundations that are being built for all of us from within right now, right, there's a lot of detachment and a lot of old that falls away. And especially if it's tied into the mental body, if it's tied into our energetic systems, it can feel very chaotic. And then even if you've got the television on, right, if you've been glued to the TV or wired to watch the news and everything going on, oh yeah, right, and social media included, you will see that there's a lot that occurs, right, especially in regards to making comparisons. Okay, like the thing is that being a way shower, right, being a guide, whatever you want to call this, being a tarot reader, being a whatever it is on YouTube, is that there's a way that many show up and many people don't see what goes on behind the scenes, right? Um, and I'll say this: is there's a lot that happens behind the scenes for us that doesn't feel so nice and isn't so beautiful. And as a result, I state that because we all have our processes. But a part of this was I myself had to begin becoming receptive to receiving help again and guidance from other people. Because especially when it comes to a lot of what we've occurred, especially trauma responses, especially in regards if you're a feminine and there's been a lot occurring, or you have a trauma response to men. I myself being a man, I have a trauma response to men. I don't let men in my life. I haven't, and I'm now starting to let men in my life and like really allow myself to be loved by another man as a friend, which is something that I don't often do. As a result, we have to begin allowing those people in, because there are people showing up in our reality with help right now. There are people showing up with gifts, strengths, and abilities that can give us the opportunity to be able to transcend those things, right? And a lot of that right now is it requires a trust. It requires action. It requires us to go within and to stabilize, but it's also about reaching out for help. Now, I've had a few people reach out to me for help recently, and I haven't been able to meet up with them because my universe has said basically it's not aligned right now. Whatever has been going on, I need to do whatever I need to do on my own, because that's a part of me honoring my reality and honoring my choice to be a sovereign being of love and to deepen that self-love through everything that's going on, right? So it really is about reaching out for help. There are beautiful people all over the world, and there are people right now that are taking positions globally in these structures that are the light. Okay, so for instance, for me, this was at the beginning of my awakening, right? That I had my therapist, and my therapist was a light worker, right? And I found many other therapists that were light workers. There are beautiful therapists and psychiatrists out there that are light workers, and there are people that are being called into those positions right now because they are what we would call that new reality, or whatever you want to version, the higher dimensional consciousness version of that system is showing up, and people are getting their call. Either way, just please reach out. Like, reach out and ask for support. If you need guidance, ask for guidance. If you need someone to talk to, find someone to talk to. Sometimes we just need a hug. Sometimes we just need a laugh. Sometimes we need a few bucks to go get a meal up the road, whatever it might be, right? Like, it's going to be different for every single person, right? But it really is about, first off, learning now about what's going on energetically. Like, for myself, I still encounter people all the time that don't believe that humanity is awakening, but then we just kind of sit back and we see that humanity is waking up. It is. The pockets are spurting up all over the globe. We're seeing the lights coming on in a lot of other people, whether it shows up, however it shows up, right? It's showing up right now. And so it's really about asking about different techniques, right? Starting to learn about energy, starting to looking at how your body corresponds to energy, right? How can you meditate more? Working with, there's a lot of Pasira Kashuku. There's a lot of activations that will help you. There's a lot of beautiful stuff on YouTube's. There's a lot of other things that will help. Um, and so I ask you to, first off, ask you to take care of your mind, your body, your field, your space, and to do what you can to come back to a place of peace within your own life. What creates and harmonizes at the frequency of peace? Let's forget about love, because here's the thing: is like, when it comes to these concerns that came up and someone wanted me to talk about it, right? Is sometimes love is such a farly removed energy from our own life because of things that have occurred to us, that it might be really hard to get there, right? To feel like we really love ourselves, or to create that healthy, sustainable container for ourselves to really hold a magnificent amount of love and power. So for some of us, it's just, what brings us peace? Is it turning on a movie? Is it reading a book? Right? What is it? Yeah, digestive tract is important. I'm hearing that within the field. Even myself, I'm getting this call, is that as we're going through the neural rewrites, right? So a code hits, a frequency hits, we go through a restructuring of like our limbic system or our central nervous system, right? We're getting the activations and the codes, and we're going through the neural rewrites, which is basically opening up our pathways to allow more light in. We want to start working with healthy gut, right? And so the biggest thing that I've seen that's felt the best, like, to me, like intuitively has felt the best when I was researching it, was an alkaline diet, was alkalizing our diet. Now, I'm not stating this from someone who has done it, okay? I'm someone who's still learning about cleaning up the diet, but we want to make sure that we are working with clearing out our digestive tract, right? Drinking, like, a very simple solution for this for myself is remineralizing my diet. So it's been water, water, salt, pink Himalayan sea salt, and honey and lemon in a little water bottle, just drinking that up, and that helps to remineralize my diet. Basic cleanses, a basic clean, healthy routine for yourself will help. Right now, I'm diving into different ways to work with oxytocin and dopamine in my body. So start researching different ways, because I want to give the power to you to be able to do this research and to have fun doing this research for yourself. Is go on Google, right? If you're on here, you've got access to the internet, hopefully. Go on Google and start researching ways that your body produces dopamine or oxytocin in your life, and start finding healthy ways to bring that into your life. There's a lot of things we can do. And for myself, it's been exercise, right? Exercise is the healthiest one. And that was brought up today amongst the family. And it was like, oh yeah, I forgot that produces dopamine and oxytocin, especially as we're being guided to shift out a lot of that energy of like addictions and obsessions, right? Because we have to start building a new healthy lifestyle for us and a new healthy routine. It doesn't have to be you're going to do everything in one leap or everything in one jump. Take it nice and slow. Take it nice and easy. Be kind with yourself, right? Be kind with yourself. I've had moments where I'm cleaning up my diet and then I'm doing some inner child work and my inner child pops up and he goes, Corey, you need to go to McDonald's and get some chicken nuggets. And it's like, oh my gosh, I'm sitting here, I'm eating vegan, I'm doing all the right things, I'm getting my body well, but my child wants chicken nuggets, right? So it's like, you got to make the trip to McDonald's. And like, so it's like, it's one of those things where that's what my child would do for me, my inner child would do for me, to give me the opportunity to dissolve the judgment, right, over how I was living my life, or to switch it up, or to change routine, or to change those meals, right? So I'm by no means promoting you go get McDonald's, right? But I'm stating is that like sometimes those things we need to soften, to relax, to find a place of, you know, peace within ourselves is like to do those really simple things. It doesn't have to cost $500, right? It doesn't have to be like, you know, throwing out everything out the window. Please don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. Trust your internal guidance. But a part of this, while we're going through these transitions, is really finding what that healthy balance is in our own lives, what that healthy routine is for our own lives, right? Does it require us to be with other people? Does it require us to contact others? Do we need to take more time alone? Do we need to sleep in a little more, right? Do we just need to honor what our body needs in every given moment? And sometimes this is what happens for a lot of humanity, is a part of honoring ourselves is that we will have choice points in honoring, right? So for some of us, it's like, hey, do I go out on that date, right? Or like, do I just stay home and relax? Do I call that person, or do I take care of myself? Do I go to work, or do I honor my body? And that's the thing, is that when we've been neglecting the child, when we've been neglecting our body, when we've been neglecting ourselves for a long time, as a result, a lot of this now is we get offered choices to make a choice. That's called choice point awareness, right? Like if we say yes, that we're going to honor our body, that we're going to be that sacred vessel, that we're going to treat ourselves with loving kindness and care, is your universe will give you situations where it's like, hey, are you going to really double down on the self-love here, or are you going to, you know, you're going to go this way? It's like we're getting that freedom to navigate our realities right now, but that freedom requires us to practice what it is holding ourselves within that love and within that healthy container again, right? So very much so a thing and a theme that's coming up, because that was coming through, is we're also creating a healthy detox routine. Cleanse your liver and kidneys. Liver's been a big one. The one that I use, the so I have dandelion tea. Dandelion root tea works really well. Especially when I'm clearing a lot of obsession, going in and cleansing the liver helps. Asiya no Korakai. There's one called Liver Rescue that I use by, I will pull it out and I will show you guys the bottles, since I love you. I will show you the bottles of what I use. Ugh. Yeah, turmeric extract works really well. This is my liver. This is my friend. Liver. Liver. Okay. It's a good It's okay. Alright. Yes. Liver Rescue by Health Force Superfoods. I really like this company. Health Force Superfoods is really good. There's also a Gaia one too. Gaia makes, I think it's called Gaia. Anyways, it's got a, yeah, Gaia. I don't know if it's Gaian Herbs or Gaian Essentials or whatever it is, but Gaia itself has a good liver rescue too. Cranberry. Cranberry is really good for kidneys. I also used D-Manos is another one that I use. Some people have been hearing that people are anemic right now. Iron. Get yourself an iron supplement. You know, when it comes to the light body, though, we have to learn how to listen to the light body and what the light body needs, because when we're going through blood detoxification, two-strand purification, which is a thing, for myself, I've gone through those moments of quote-unquote anemic and thinking something was wrong or something was occurring within me. When it comes to us clearing out these past lives, like, so it happened earlier. I'm going to state this little message really quickly. I was clearing out a timeline, and it like literally rose up from within me, and I was like, oh my gosh, and like I was crying really hard. I started to cough and I started to vomit because I was literally throwing up this timeline. Like, so when we say we were throwing up a timeline, sometimes you're literally throwing up a timeline. When we say you're taking a shift, sometimes as a result of you clearing, you have to take a shift, right? Is that as we're going through these cleanses, and especially when we're clearing out our two-strand DNA or like our ancestral line, things like that, that's a part of our epigenetic blueprint that we were born into this reality with. Some of those blood detoxes, when the energies hit and we go through that blood detox, we can feel like we're anemic, right? So as a result, I always invite you to begin building that connection with yourself, or ask a reader, ask someone else, someone who's, you know, there's medical mediums out there. There are people that can give you that advice. Please, like, you know, use your strengths, gifts, and abilities for the highest good of all, right? Transitioning, especially if you're doing like a lot of fasting too, because sometimes we can't eat. Or sometimes we're living on so much light that we just don't need a lot of food. It really is, it's important. It's important, guys. It's important to keep our body in balance, but also to recognize too that sometimes balancing our lives, balancing our own, balancing the new version of us, balancing our life body, balancing these new gifts and abilities and the versions of ourselves that we are anchoring here and now with our abilities. Um, your balance might not seem balanced, and it's going to be unique to you because it's going to be unique to your chemistry. It's going to be unique to your quantum biology. It's going to be responding and correlating to your neural mechanisms, your biofeedback, your biorhythms, right? And so the other thing too is that we also can't make comparisons on what others need on the journey. Like I see a lot of people that drink coffee, right? And as a result, my universe is like, you can't drink coffee right now. And a lot of times I sit there and go, why not? They're drinking coffee. And it's like, well, for me, I still have some things that I need to work out, and as a result, I need to clear them from my body. So my body's saying, "Sorry, no more coffee." Right. So what works for one might not work for you. So this is where also to a part of that autonomy and that sovereignty of being the soul essence is connecting with ourselves and listening to our heart, our body, and learn how to begin co-creating with our body now. And listening to what our body needs because it's going to be different for every individual. Yes, there's a lot of like staples and guidelines and things that we can follow, and there's been a lot of new age systems that say like, oh my gosh, if you eat like this, if you eat only raw, you're, you know, it's, and I've seen it. I've seen people literally battle and kill each other out there in the world over foods and over what you choose to eat. I've seen the most destructive tendencies occur, and we're not going to go into that right now. Anyway, so but we want to make sure that we are engaging with ourselves in a way that's soft, loving, and kind right now, especially as we're repairing, right? So we want to make sure that we are being really nice and gentle with ourselves, soft and relaxed, and also listening to what you need, right? So when I started to work with the light body and I started to learn more, there were times that my universe was like, I think I had 2 days. I had 2 days last week. No, was it last week? It was a couple weeks ago. I had 2 days where all I ate all day was chocolate. All my body was craving was chocolate. And it was like, oh my gosh, to someone else that might be like, oh my gosh, something's wrong with you, blah, blah, blah. But we could go into that. But for myself, it's because my body went super crystalline. And when I go really crystalline, the sugars come up. And it's like, I just need a lot of sugar. And it's like, that's all I want to eat is sugar. I've also had moments too where I'm clearing bacteria and I'm clearing things out of my body. And as a result, my body literally responds to myself in the most loving, kind, gentle way by literally making myself so like sick that I have no choice but to just completely collapse and toss everything up. So, you know, once again, is it's a part of the process, it's a part of the stabilization, and it's a part of making sure that our wellness, that our routine, right, that we free ourselves of all judgment over what it is that we need to be able to go through these processes of purification and to balance in our own lives. Back to that Two of Pentacles energy, we're looking at balance right now. Everything is about balance. And so we really, as we're harmonizing, balancing the masculine and feminine, balancing these new foundations that are being created for us, as we're remembering what it is to be light, and we're you know, the veil's super thin right now too. So especially as we're witnessing multidimensionality, guys, the veils have been so thin. I'm seeing more, and as a result, I sit here and go, oh gosh, that's what's going on here. And a lot of that is we're trying to figure out things, but we also have to remember too, are we trying to figure out from a place, or are we trying to respond from a place of here, right? Because remembrance is held here. Okay, remembrance is held here, and sometimes this place can't fully understand or comprehend what's going on, and as a result, this thing starts to lose hold, because this is really right now, the mental body, the mental focus, is a really important part of our conditioning, and it's a part of our practice. It's a requirement for us to begin recognizing these things that show up in our reality, how they belong to us, how we can dissolve them with assistance of others, with other people. There's a lot of great way showers that do this work that can help out in this department. And it's learning about like shadow work, right? Like we can call it that. It's going through unconsciousness programming. We've got every version of myself that's shown up has a different way of saying it. It has a very, very different way of stating the same exact thing, which is basically we're clearing out and we're inviting in the new. So beginning to find what that shadow work process is, what that unconsciousness process is for you. For me, it's been journaling. It's been journaling, it's been writing, but it's also creative expression. So sometimes it's writing poetry. Sometimes it's like going out and getting my guitar out and playing guitar, or it's singing, or it's laughing, or it's dancing, it's playing, it's crying. And some days my creative expression is throwing up the white flag. Bonk. And if you know about the white flag, you know about the white flag. We put up the white flag, we put up a big rainbow on it, and we're like, we're done. We're surrendering, right? Everything's surrendered. You're good. We're coming from a place of peace and balance, but we're honoring every human bandwidth that exists within humanity. So if you've been seeing the rainbow white flag show up, it's a call for peace, right? And sometimes for ourselves, though, for myself, I have to my creative expression is punching a pillow or screaming really loudly or throwing a hissy fit, right? Um, yeah, it's one of those things for ourselves where we have to learn what our creative expression, our creative flow is, but also how we unweave these realities from our lives, right? Unweave these realities. And there's a lot of support to do that. There's a lot of way showers, there's a lot of friends, there's a lot of there's a lot available to us resource wise as long as we choose to tap into that. Okay. Listen to your supportive guidance. Right? Listen to supportive guidance. A place of nurture, a place of rest, a place of beauty. That's the guidance you want to listen to. Right? Okay. Are we going to do Ooh, okay. So I heard a question right now through the field. Some people are getting rabbit holed. What do you do when you go in the rabbit hole? Okay. The rabbit hole is a place of transcendence. The rabbit hole itself is a place of transcendence. And I find that there are there's certain beings out there that have certain galactic origins or certain okay. When you're in the rabbit hole, for myself, what helps is really coming back to a place of allowing everything to, first off, is to trust. Trust, trust, trust. Trust the pathway that's unfolding for you. Every time that I've been thrown in the rabbit hole, I had to find out that my universe put me there on purpose. Um, the other thing too is we just don't want to fix to anything, guys. We don't want to fix to any truth. There's a lot of it is like there's a truth that exists. You see it, you witness it. Once you see it, please don't hold on to it because the truth shifts and change. There are things that are going on, right? That are all over the world that are happening, and they are really going on, right? But as a result, we don't have to attach to it, right? We don't have to attach to it. But also too is to make sure that doing what you can to get your light back up, right? Your light quotient is going to help you because the rabbit hole exists for you to transcend the ego, to be very simply put, and don't even fixate to that truth. There's so many other reasons that the rabbit hole exists, right? But for the basic definition, if you've been in the rabbit hole, it's helping you to transcend this and to come back to a place of this. If you come back to a place of rest, of purity, and of peace within your form, and recognize that this exists within you, within your light body, right? This place of peace, get your light quotient up, you will transcend it and the reality will get better. But it is a part of awakening. Right now, there's been over the course of a little while here and what's been going on, there's a lot of disruption that's occurring, right? And that disruption frequency is going to help you to break out, right? So think about like kind of like a shake up call or a wake up that occurs to kind of wake us up out of whatever's been going on and to clear so we can unplug from whatever situation we've been belonging to, right? Is that this happens for a reason, but note that you will get out of it. Some people like to go down there. Some people like to go down there. But it really is about knowing that there's a lot of activations too. I want to state this. So I have activations on this channel. There's also some really, really good. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. There's some really good resources available on YouTube for different activations. Reiki has worked a lot for that. Sometimes we need to go in to do some deeper clearing and deeper cleaning, right? But I also invite you to look at a great person that's helped me out along this journey. Her name is Lisa Transcendence Brown. If you go to awakeningtoremembering.com or look at her SoundCloud for Lisa Transcendence Brown, she's got a lot of really good activations. Sandra Walters is another good one that has a lot of great activations that are free that you can use. She has a Christ Light activation that will help you. Start leaning on those things, right? There's some really beautiful people out in this world that can help you. I've got a few activations of, light language things that will help people too. But please, like, expand beyond that. Yeah, there is another person, Star Magic Healing. I like his stuff a lot. He does a lot of great work. There's a lot out there. Like, go pick and choose and have fun. If you go over to, like, if you want to find new way showers and new people to start watching, go over to the NEO network, right? NEO network will help to like guide you into different people. Like Gene Ong is a good one. That's over on NEO. And then also Sology, like Todd Medina. He brings some really great people on. And as a result, you can find some really awesome people and begin not only like supporting their work, but like begin listening to what they have to say, right? So because I've had moments where this truth works for me or this person works for me and then they don't. And I've even watched the fluctuation occur in my own life, with subscribers and things like that. Every way shower has a different gift for you. Right? They have a different puzzle piece. And so just invite yourself to have the opportunity to expand and to grow. So if you are going through this and you're having challenges and things aren't making sense, begin doing the research, right? Begin listening to other people. Begin just diving into a lot of information. I've done this, right? I've done this where when I first was diving into into Lisa's work was for myself was me and Samantha would sit there for hours, and just listen to Lisa all day because we needed that, right? We were in so much 3D stuff that we just had to like immerse ourselves in that higher dimensional consciousness and what it like felt like to be in that energy and to just like listen to the words, right? And to learn. So we had to start soaking up a lot of different frequencies to really find what that magic was from within us to disable a lot of, disassemble a lot of the old realities and then to begin awakening what this new was within us without judgment, right? Without fear too, because there's a lot that we are processing right now as a collective. And even in this own field right now, we're processing a lot. I hear it, I feel it, right? And it was someone that said it earlier, I don't know it all, but I feel it all, right? And like I feel it and I hear it, right? And I might not know what everything is, but I also trust the journey. And that's a big part for all of us, is we all, as individuals, as autonomous sovereign individuals here, need to begin trusting the journey again. Right? Trust the journey. Trust your magic. Trust your soul. Trust your guides. Trust. Right? Even if it doesn't make sense, just trust. Now, make sure it's coming from a soft, loving, and kind place. I think we're all learning a little bit more about that one, right? Make sure it's coming from a kind, loving place. And even if it isn't, cool. Go for it, right? Go for it. By no means recommending that, but I'm going to honor you as a soul, and I have no karmic investment and no energetic investment in what you do, right? But it it requires for us right now to just to be silly and to play with all the divine child work that's going on, and especially when we reach these judgment days, right? There's a lot shifting, and a lot that we're unraveling, and that we're changing up in our own realities, and it requires a lot of stillness and silence. So it might be shut off the phone for a few days, right? Just go offline, just or to go make a new memory, go read a book, go paint a picture, go get a yo-yo, go get a hacky sack, right? Like I'm finding more and more how important it is to get the physical body moving. Now with weather, I understand, like here, weather has been getting colder and colder. I woke up this morning and it was 20 outside and I had 3 layers on and I was still like, nope, I'm going back in the rig, right? So I recognize is that for some people, right, is that there's where weather permits, we're not able to go outside, we're not able to exercise. So as a result, right, cabin fever comes up, right? Cabin fever, the hermit mode style of awakening. So when the hermit comes up for us, right, and we have to kind of go within, or we're pesadilla kusukua, we're in our, we might feel isolated and you're getting that cabin fever. We have to begin creating a routine for ourselves, right? So do you need more vitamin D in your diet, right? Do you have seasonal things that occur, seasonal shifts, right? That's a part of your quantum biology. Even myself, when the sun isn't out as much and I can't be in the sun, I go low, right? And we call it sad, right? It's like There is a label for it. I'm not going into diagnostics because we're not playing with the DSM here. We're not going to play with all that. Yes, it exists, but I don't want to co-create with that reality. Thank you. So there is seasonal things that occur, that shifts, that respond to our own biology, our quantum biology. So birds have migration patterns. I've talked about this a lot. When the sun shifts frequencies, right? The birds have migration patterns because their mirror neurons switch. They get the clarion call to move, and they move, right? So our body, as we're corresponding to these new realities, is that these shifts and these changes, including seasonally, have an effect on our bodies. So we have to begin looking at what nutrients do our bodies need to begin stabilizing in this new frequency, or because there's this seasonal shift, or I can't get as much sunlight, right? What is going to help me to glow? What's going to help me to feel better? What's going to help me to respond from kindness? What's going to help me to shift these things out? And as a result, we have to start doing those things. Now, I recognize too, okay, here's another thing that I recognize, that a part of this thing is resources right now. We're seeing a lot of holding on, right? Don't play into those games. Please do not play into those games. But I see that right now it's access to resources. And for a lot of people, they can't. They can't. Yep, throw it up the white flag. Stopping that one down. Thank you, universe. Is that, when it comes to access to resources, right? Is we have to recognize that we are resilient beings in a body, right? We're resilient. We're gonna make it through. I've had moments in my own life too, and in my own journey of expansion and awakening, and even recovery, right, where I didn't have access to certain things. And as a result, the universe always gifted me everything I had and everything I needed in that given moment, right? Everything I needed. Whether it was a cheeseburger, whether it was a silly song, it's whatever I needed in that now moment. And so please, I invite you to not judge yourself if you don't have all the things that you need right now, right? Because this can be the awakening journey can be very fashionable, right? And you might think like, oh, I need to have all the freaking Andaras and all these things, right? Because there's consumerism wherever you go, right? But the thing is that when it comes to our divine DNA, right? When it comes to us awakening, when it comes to us offering the inner child the ability to play again and to be silly, is going to shift a lot. This came up for me yesterday, and I did a whole thing about it. I'm not going to go into it because that's a rabbit hole all in itself. But there is a formula that I was given, a mathematical formula, and I unlocked it, and I found some things. I'm not going to go into it right now. We're gonna play with it more later. But the divine child actually holds a key code for us right now. Us playing with our inner child, coming into reunion with our divine child, has an actual DNA key code activation. It has a spiritual gift for us. It has an internal memory, right? I know. Resistance. Come back to a place of peace. I know. But right now, the divine child does hold something for us. And there's a lot of medicine held with just playing with the child. So, rubber ducky, you're the one. You make bath time lots of fun. Right? Do what you can. Do what you can to be goofy and to have some fun. It will help. It will help. Anything else that wants to come forward? I appreciate you all being here. I appreciate you all. It's been a lot going on. I recognize it. It's been a lot occurring, a lot unfolding. Is there anything else we want to bring forward for the collective? Or I think we're done. How long have I been going for? 77 minutes? Wow. I haven't even read one thing you guys have said because I'm on my phone and I can't read that far. And my arms don't want to reach up to do that. So we're just going to sit here and embody the Divine Mother, embody the love, and have some fun. Let's see. Thank you. Ew. Here's the other thing I want to say, guys. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here as myself. I'm not into competitions. I'm not into playing games with anyone. I'm not into all the things that have been occurring interdimensionally right now. And for a moment, Corey's going to speak up and share his truth because he needs to. And we all need to hear this right now. If you're coming in here and you don't like what I have to say, just do the kind thing, and I ask you to unsubscribe. It's really simple. Just unsubscribe. Okay? If you want to come in here and you want to fight and you want to battle, right? You want to come in with swords, I'm reminding you, if you don't like what I have to say, it's okay. Sometimes the nicest thing is to not say anything at all. But when it's showing up in the field right now and I hear it, I'm going to start talking about it. Because this is a place of kindness. This is a place of sacred love and sacred respect, energetic guidelines that I hold. Okay. I don't want to fight with you anymore. There's a lot that's been occurring, and I've been throwing up the white flag. And I've been resisting doing this message, especially with what's been going on. But I state that if you do not like what I have to say, that's fine. You can respectfully walk away. I'm not keeping you here. All right? Thank you. See? Everything just went really quiet. Really easy. Sometimes we just need to share our truth and things will stop. But yeah, so right now, just be with your divine child and stand up for your beliefs. Stand up for who you are, right? Because there is a lot of this coming up, right? Is that we're finding what it means to be sovereign. We're finding what it means to be in our truth, to be in our clarity, to be in our love. And as a result, there's a lot of people that want to share. There's a lot of people that want to share who they are. And if we're all, playing our part in the cosmic orchestration and every cog has a necessary wheel and functioning, we also have to learn how to abide by our soul and what we're being called to share, what we're being called to do, and what we're being called to believe in, right? To be called to believe in. Because I've had so many opportunities in my life to show up with kindness and respect. And if you're going to be a part of this channel, if you want to be a part of this collective thing that we're doing, if you want to be a part of it, by all means, you're welcome to be here. But but if it's going to turn into this whole back and forth karmic whatever it is, just go. It's done. Just go. So thank you. Anyways. So yeah, a lot going on. Thank you guys for your donations. I really do appreciate it. I do appreciate it. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. Yes. So we're gonna do a little smudge because that discussion, there was stuff coming in, and I noticed that numbers dropped and then things cleared really quickly. So the power of your throat chakra too, guys. Stand in your truth. Say what you need to say. One of my favorite songs by John Mayer is "Say." Say what you need to say. And I would always offer doing it from a place of kindness and respect and love because of what I've witnessed and gone on in my own life. But sometimes there's a lot of people that are going to start speaking up and they're going to say some not so nice things. That's their job and that's their role, and that's beautiful just the way they are, right? I always say just be perfect just as you are. But please, share your heart, share your light, open your throat, share what you need to share, say what you need to say, because it's really important for all of us in humanity to begin sharing who we are again. Even if that means that you don't necessarily agree with something or you don't like something, right? Just show up and share. But also creative expression really helps. I have a sister, actually, Miss Mel. If she's in here, hi Mel. I can't really see the chat right now, but she does slam poetry, man. And she shares her expression through her poetry, and she does such a beautiful job, right? And it's just, it's amazing. I'm not going to throw up her Instagram channel on here because I'm not going to just throw her under the bus, but she does a great job. And so sometimes too is like sometimes poetic justice for ourselves, right? Or the ability to be able to create from what's going on with our pain and turning it into beauty, which is a part of transmutation. It's a part of awakening, and it's a part of harmonization that I do in my own soul's expression with music and other things, is that there are ways that you can also put down the battle armor, put down the sword, and show up with the pen, right? Show up with the magic and share what you need to share and say what you need to say, because it really is important right now for all of us to begin recognizing that violence is not the way to resolve things. But some people it might be, but I'm not there. Violence is not a way to respond. And that, an eye for an eye, the whole world will go blind. And it's so true. There are cycles that we're trying to complete right now. And us as being creator beings in a body don't have to play out and have violent reactions to everything. We don't. Now, part of that is we can stand in our truth and we can say no more, right? We can say no more. But if we want to keep perpetuating that violence, that's cool. But go somewhere else for that, please. Because I'm really tired of doing that. I'm tired of putting up a video and then having to. Okay. So just go. Thank you. Yes, Mel's work is amazing, and she does some really great work. She does some really great work with her poetry, and with what she's been sharing. And I appreciate her as a sister, as a sacred soul sister. She's amazing. And man, she's come a long way really quickly. And if I get the okay to share her poetry, to share her magic with the world, I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to bring it up. We're working on a lot of togetherness, and we're working on right now as a collective, building some new forms of expression to share with the world. And so there's a lot that's going on within that I can't wait to release and share with the world, as we're just aligning all these beautiful realities now. Okay. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you for being in your light. Thank you for the donations. I really do appreciate it. Um, there are, I'm open up for my website's back online, foundersoflife.org. If you need anything, you can go over there. I'll be showing up, doing readings and doing things and doing some guidance stuff. So please, guys, I appreciate you. I love you. I respect you. I honor you. Just keep holding the highest. Hold the love. Let the rest fall away. And please, 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 remember to show gratitude today. Show gratitude for yourself, for one another, for the experience, for the expression, for everyone, where everyone is at in this now moment. We don't have to make comparisons anymore. We don't have to judge one another. We don't have to shun one another. We don't have to shame one another based upon belief systems. Just allow everyone to be who they are. And that means that if you're not a part of their reality because of a belief system, let it be. Right? And if you need to be somewhere else for a period of time so you can go through the process that you need to go through, I invite you to go there. Right? Whether it's up above or down below, that's fine. Take it nice and steady right now. Be very kind, gentle, and slow with yourself. Don't make comparisons, right? Everyone's at a different wavelength of their journey. We all hold a different essence. We also have different agreements, right? Different soul contracts. We have different karmic timelines we're clearing, right? So just allow everyone to be who they are in their unique expression. And as a result, gift yourself an opportunity to be with pure presence right now, to be with stillness, and to stand in that sovereign place of hope and divine love for yourself, right? Be peaceful in all that you do and have fun. Have fun, right? So we're just going to keep shifting. We're going to keep aligning. We're going to keep transmuting all of this that's going on, and we're just going to keep clearing everything, right? And as a result, guys, we're on a journey right now. And that means that sometimes not everyone is going to make it on our passageway into the next new, and that's okay. Just let it fall away. Let it fall away, right? Because there are people that are all along for the ride right now, that are along for the journey forward, and those are the people that we need to start trusting again, right? It's trusting the people that are here with us right now, that are working with us, that are helping us to align, that are helping us to find joy, that are helping us to remember our magic, that are helping us to find purity again and resilience. Okay, those are the people that matter right now. Because a lot is shifting and a lot of people are falling away, including my own life. So with that, love you, love you. Be safe, be kind, be soft, be loving, be gentle. We're just going to close out this reading now with a little bit of purity, a little bit of love, and a little bit of unique freshness in our own life. All right, guys, I will see you soon.